Ladies and gentlemen, so we are in the special cases of factoring here. So when you factor in special cases, and the one that we're going to be dealing with is what we call the difference of two squares, is when you end up with a format of a squared minus b squared equals to, then your answer will be a minus b, a plus b. So that means you expand it, okay? So factoring is all about expanding the expression that you're dealing with. All right, so let's take the first question here. So when we have x squared minus b squared, 25, so what we're looking at is this format. Do we have that format? Okay, so it says difference. Difference means minus of two squares. So two squares, that means 1 and then 2, okay? Meaning that if you are able to take the square root of this one, and then it comes out evenly, or that just means what variable here multiply, you take it to the power 2 to give you this one here. That would be x. And here, what will be the number that you take or you multiply by itself to give you 25? That would be 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. In this case, that would be x times x, which is x squared. Okay? So that's the number or the variable that you're looking for so that you can apply this formula here. Okay, so that means what? So that means if you have x, then times x, which is x's second power, minus then, what is this one? 5 to the second power. Basically, that's what it means. So x times x is x squared, and 5 times 5 is 25. Then you apply the formula. All right, so that means x minus 5 times x plus 5. This is what it means. This is what we're talking about. Okay, and then this one is your final answer. That's it. So once you detected that you are in front of a special case, and especially the difference of two squares, that's it. Bingo, you're done. Now let's take a look at the second question here. We have 25a squared minus 35. Now the question again persists, which is if you take this term here, can you rewrite it into a variable that you can take and multiply by itself to give you 25a squared. So because this is together, so you want to break it down with the number and the variable. So what's the number that multiplies itself to give you 25? It's 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. So that would be 5. And what's the variable that multiplies by itself to give you a squared? That will also be a. So that means 5a squared should be able to give you 25a squared, because 5a times 5a we give you 25a squared. So the same thing here is 36 here, because that's the second term. So this is the first term, this is the second term. So for the second term, what's the number that multiplies itself to give you 36? It's going to give you 6. So this is minus 6, and that's a 6 squared. Are we good? So the final answer here, because after you detected that, now you apply the formula, which is going to give you what? 5a minus 6 times 5a plus 6. And then you are also done with this one here. Okay, we good? All right. So now we go ahead over here and see what we have. So we have 100y to the 4th power minus 9z to the 4th power. Now we're getting more interesting problems. So that means what? So the same thing for the number here. What's the number that multiplies itself to give you 100? It's 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. Okay? Like I said, once you know how to also manipulate square root, so it's just a matter of taking square root of these so that you can get it. But because we haven't spoken about that yet, so that's the reason why I'm not getting that involved yet. So that means a 10. All right. What about the y to the 4th power? What y will multiply itself to give you y to the 4th power? That'd be y power 2, because y power 2 times y power 2 will give you y to the 4th, right? Because you guys remember, we said y2 times y2 should give you y2 plus 2, which is y to the 4th, right? So that's the reason why this one is going to be y2 here, and then raised to the 2nd power. Okay? Then minus the same thing is going to happen here. What about 9? 9 is 3 by 3, okay? And then what about z to the 4th is going to be z to the 2nd power. And then you square that one also. And then once you get that, what's happening then? So now you can expand it. So you expand both of them, and then you're going to be fine. So that means you have 10y squared minus 3z squared times 10y squared plus 3z squared. All right? And then you are finished with this one as well. Okay? So you don't need to do anything else after that. So far, what we're asking you to do is to be able to find the special cases, in these instances. Now, here is the fourth question here. So how do we go about that one? So this one is 75b to the second power minus 3. So one thing that I should have told you before is anytime, and we said that in previous videos before, is that anytime you're dealing with factoring, the first thing you want to look into is, do you have anything in common for all the terms? If you do have it, you got to take it out before you apply any special case or anything else. All right? So in this case, is there anything that we can bring outside? I mean, we should have done it for this one, but it was a clean cut that we didn't have anything in common, right? That's why I did not even stress that out. But in any case, if you come to 75b squared minus 3, is there anything that we have in common? Yes. Because 3 can go into 75 and 3 can go into 7 one time. So 3 is going to be our common factor. That means we divide it by 3 and 3. And then 3 goes into 75, so 3 goes into 7 twice. And then with this one, this is 5, okay? And then that's 25 squared. And then 3 divided by 3 will give you what? That'll give you 1. So we end up with 3 times 25b squared minus 1. Because if you take the 3, then you multiply by 25b squared, and then you take the 3 that you multiply by 1, that will give you 75b squared minus 3 afterwards, correct? So that's all you have so far. So one more time just to finish with this one. So when you have 25b squared minus 1, which is the difference of 2 squares also, then what's the number here? That gives us 5. 5, right? That'll be 5b squared minus what's going to happen here? What number multiplies itself to give you 1 is 1. So it's 1 squared in this case. All right, we good? And let's don't forget about the 3, because the 3 is already outside. So let's don't forget about that. So just to finish with, you end up with 3 times 5b minus 1, and then 5b plus 1. So you see how the problems are getting more interesting? Okay, it's getting more interesting. We love it that it's getting more interesting so that we can learn, get ready for our test, ready for anything, in life. So this is what we do. And yeah, so take your time again, go back step by step, and then we're going to be good. All right?